Hey, welcome to Dream Aloud with Kendra. It's a podcast for Black women who want to live limitless lives. Be inspired by others who have dared to step outside of their comfort zone to live their hopes and dreams and passions. Now let's get started because life is way too short not to live the way that you want.
Hello, everybody. I want to welcome you to my second act series. I have another wonderful guest, and she is part of the under 40 set, doing her thing, daring to pivot, stepping out to do the things that she loves, and still pay the bills. Again, 50% of my interviewees are family members, and it's Black
Sorry.
History Month. And so, what better way to celebrate Black History Month than with your family and the accomplishments that they have and that they're going to make? So, history, we think about it as being Black History Month, but it's also Black History Year, which is American history as well. And it's history in the making because after tomorrow, this is going to be history too. So she is really representing for the JMC family. She's also a member of the prominent Still family. So she has a huge legacy to uphold, and she is doing so well in upholding her portion of representing who she is as a woman, as a Still, as a McFarlane, and everything in between. I want to invite and welcome Katia Jones.
Hello. Thank you. Thank
I am
you.
so glad that you were able to make it. So we were talking a little before we started, and I was just saying how proud I am of you, just stepping out and following your dreams and not letting fear stop you. And I think you're probably one of the people who travels more than I do. So you've
Yeah.
been following your dreams for a long time. So before we get into your entrepreneurship, let's talk about what you used to do. For
Okay. So, probably for the last, well, probably 7 years, I was in corporate commercial real estate, and I managed high-rise office buildings here in Los Angeles and some retail properties out here in Los Angeles. And I kind of grew tired of that. But I was doing that for about 7 years out here in LA. And it
Mhm.
was, it was good, a good learning experience, but I knew my passion was somewhere else.
So let's talk about your passion.
Okay.
What do you have a passion for? I know one of them is travel.
Yes, travel is definitely one of them. And that's probably why I wanted to kind of pivot per se and kind of start creating the life that will give me more flexibility.
Mhm.
Um, and a little more independence. I think eventually I just want to live a life where I can be anywhere in the world and still be making money. Like if I'm
Mhm.
in South Africa or somewhere, I can still be making money. So that's the end goal. So travel is definitely, I guess, one of my whys and just seeing the world. But then also just building some like that financial freedom that a lot of people don't have. Um, I want to be able to create that for myself and not within the confines of what society tells me how you're supposed to make money and go work for this person for X amount of years and that's all you have. Like, I want to be able to have multiple streams of income and have that financial freedom. So that's my goal. So, other passions, I'm
Awesome.
still like, even though I don't work for like my my corporate job. I don't have a corporate job anymore that is related to real estate. I do still love real estate. So now I am a full-time real estate broker, residential broker. And
Oh,
I
you're
work
a
for,
broker. Okay.
yeah, I'm a licensed broker, but I hang my license under another brokerage. I
Okay.
kind of tried that route one time to have like my own brokerage, and I don't want that either. That's a lot of like overhead and just a lot of, you have to be responsible for everyone you. So I'd rather just hang my license with someone else, and it still works out. So I'm like currently hanging my license and working with a company called EXP. Great company, great resources. And then my baby that I think we're really here to talk about is Balm Tea. Balm Tea Co. I started that in June of 2020. And it's just something that I wanted to do for, I would say, probably the last like 3 or 4 years, and just not feeling confident in making that step. And then I think the pandemic hit, and I just felt like it was the time to just do it, and kind of almost get hung up on just the little things, the little steps to get to this big launch of doing, launching a product. But I finally just, said I have to do it, and I did it.
So your loves are travel
Mm-hmm.
and time to do what you want to do. And
Mm-hmm.
I read your article, so you love tea as well.
Yes.
And so I just want to reiterate all of those changes that you just took in stride. You pivoted.
I did.
So you lived in New Jersey and you
I did.
moved to the West Coast. Did you
I
know
did.
anybody on the West Coast?
I have family on my dad's side out here.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, I have family out here. So, and then actually some people that I went to college with lived out here. And even though we weren't even like cool in college, but they've become a part of
Good.
my family away from home. So it was never like a difficult transition. I don't think I've ever been homesick, and I'm sure like I see my dad and my mom are watching, so they probably don't like that I'm saying
She's
I've never.
living her life. And
But
you
I will
guys.
say, anytime I come home, I am excited to come to New Jersey. So it's not that I'm not
It's okay.
ready for my roots. So
It's okay. California is beautiful.
it is.
Lots of
It's
people
75
and family and
here.
friends who have moved and not come back. I love it, but I always tell everybody I don't want to move because then the nostalgia will be gone. So I come and I visit, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
cool. Your next pivot that you made was you went into corporate America. You decided this is not what I want to do. You made another change.
Yes.
Then after that, you just told us that you have a brokerage license and you were a broker.
Mm-hmm.
You decided that's not for you. You made some tweaks, another pivot, and you work under another brokerage. So what do you say to anybody who feels like they just have to stay married to that same idea? You know, that stick with it attitude. It's not always what it's cracked up to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to be committed, to stay committed to something if it's really for you. Like, definitely stay committed to that. But I can definitely say, like, I'm not afraid to make a change, even in like my corporate career. Like, if a
Mm-hmm.
job wasn't working out for me, and I don't know how like this sounds, but I would try and feel it out. But I was never afraid to like make that change and say, okay, either I need to make more money, whatever it was, or I don't want to deal with this situation. I don't want to drive an hour to hour and a half one way to work. Like, if I needed to change that, I've never been afraid to change that. So yeah, I say go for it. Like, we were talking about this a little early, before we went on live, but like, we only have one life, so like, enjoy it and make the best of it, and just be unapologetic about
And
it.
make unapologetic and make the changes for you. So
Yes.
you talked about moving from New Jersey to
Mhm.
California and you knew that your sister and your mom and dad are watching. Your sister said,
Yeah.
"Live your life, girl."
She's crazy. She is crazy. Yes. Thank you, Kabir.
But she's telling the truth. You should live your
Yeah.
life. And there's always video, there's always a flight home. You can do all of that and we can all come and visit you. So tell us how you started Bomb Tea.
So,
Bomb Tea.
oh, why is it called Bomb Tea?
Just
Okay.
tell me about the whole thing.
So I would say maybe, like I said, like 3 or 4 years ago, like I've always like enjoyed tea. And in the article, And I don't even know if I've ever even expressed this to my grandmother, but I always associate like her having tea in the morning and stuff like that. I just remember that experience with her. And then as I've gotten older, she might just have like simple bag tea or whatever. And as I got older, started trying new flavors of tea and just enjoying tea in that manner. And then I discovered loose leaf tea. So I really enjoyed like the experience of tea and trying different flavors of tea. Learning about tea. I have a few tea books and just even learning about herbs in general. I have some like medicinal books here that I sometimes reference. Like I kind of like to do stuff in my kitchen. Like I guess sometimes I might call myself like a kitchen, like apothecary or something. Like I'll make my own shea butters. I made like a tincture when all this coronavirus started, like making an echinacea tincture, using essential oils. So like I really like to live like that, as close to like a natural living as possible. So I really
So
just
you
started,
put everything that you learned into making your cheese.
and still like I'm still learning stuff. I'm still learning stuff. But I felt like, I had enough knowledge and I had an idea of what I liked, that like, why can't I make my own tea line? And here I am. I made my own tea line and I wanted to expand from there. But yeah, I came up with the name Bomb probably like 2 years ago, when I was still like pussyfooting around this whole idea of starting this whole tea line. But it just came to me like one day I woke up and I was like, Bomb, like when you think of bomb, you think of something healing, you think of something spiritual. And that's what I want my line to represent. That not what I want, that is what it represents.
That's what it represents.
So that's where I got the name from. Like I literally woke up one day and I was like, Bomb, like it just sounds like it was meant
Like
for
we need some,
yes,
so that we can heal whatever it is that we need to heal.
exactly.
You mentioned your grandma always having tea.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about your grandma. I'm
Well,
a phenomenal lady, but the rest of the world needs to know.
she is, I mean, both like my family in general, they're great. But I grew up pretty much like, my mother, she raised me, but I was around her, my grandparents. I was up under if not my grandmother, probably my grandfather. So probably wherever they were, I was with them at some point. So um no, like I attribute like a lot of things to them. My grandfather, he was an entrepreneur, and he kind of just, he showed us what it meant to stand on your, stand 10 toes down on whatever it is you're pursuing. Like he literally owned his own business for many, many, many years. So
And he
before my
started
mother,
that business before they got married, right?
yeah, I believe so. Yeah. So
And
like,
so, because I'm the history buff and the griot, so someone had saved an article from their wedding
okay.
out of the paper. The flower girl's mother saved it and they sent it to me.
I
So
think I that.
their wedding was like announced on in the paper, and so they talked about what they wore and who the parents were, and they it was like this elaborate thing, and I was like, wow, Uncle Gilbert and Aunt Cree, high society. And I'm still waiting for some pictures. Your aunts are supposed to send me pictures, but
Okay. I'll remind
the
her.
whole thing was, if we hadn't seen that that article, we wouldn't have known that
Mm-hmm.
they considered that, because they're just so down to earth. But he started his business, and he he just did things a little differently, and he was a
Yeah.
man in a house full of women.
Full of women. I mean,
Right.
he's an
Yeah.
inventor. One, like outside of being an entrepreneur, my grandfather was an inventor. Like, had patents and things like that at one point. So I think he really even though he stressed both of like my family in general, they stressed education. But I think he was an example of like doing it your way as well. So I'm appreciative of those examples that I had in my family. So
And I think there's no better way to live than the way that you want to live
mhm,
and play your way. But to do that, you need to make some sacrifices and you need to make some
yeah,
commitments. And
yeah,
like you said, he was in a house full of women. So is your grandmother.
he
There
was
are 3 daughters, and then you and your sister, and you were always there.
always, well, not always, but a
That's
lot of times.
that's where I always saw you guys.
Yes, we were.
Family meetings she would always host in October for her birthday, and the spread would be elaborate.
Hmm.
And you
And
talk
yeah,
about
those I was gonna say those are also like some memories I have with my grandmother. Like, we talked about it when you did Muffin's interview, like
mhm,
the family meetings, and I would just, we would. It was like an event almost, like watching my grandmother prepare for the meetings and just, making the foods that we love as a family and just,
and keeping the tradition. So
exactly.
the tradition that they started in the 50s, that they brought back, that it died in 66, 1966, when
Okay.
when her grandmother died. They kind of fell apart for a minute, and
Okay.
15 years later they brought it together. So since the 80s, we started meeting at your great grandma's house
Okay.
like 10, 9, 10. But she was serving like Sunday dinner. But it was Sunday. We started on Sunday, so she was serving Sunday dinner. But when we changed to Saturdays, they were still serving like Sunday dinner. So
Wow.
if you went to somebody's house and they had a meeting and they served like cheese and crackers, people would be livid because they're ready to come and eat. They came to break bread. I call it a eating, not the meeting, because really,
Oh, like,
the meeting took about 45 minutes, but we would be there about 2 hours.
hmm.
So when we everybody made something special. So I knew when I came to your grandma's house, it was going to be iced tea that she
Hmm.
was in. So it would be like a slushy.
Slushy. Yep.
And make the delicious cake that she makes.
I was gonna say, I prefer her pound cake, but I don't know if she was making the pound cake for the meeting, but
No, she
her pound.
didn't make that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, y'all missed out.
I had some though. But
Oh, okay.
she would make the cake that I like. I call it
Oh,
the need cake. This is the cake I need that I used to make and she makes. And then she would make the coconut cake. And
hmm.
it would be whatever they would make. But you'd go to different people's houses and there would be some type of specialty.
Yeah.
And so it's so amazing for you to be with the generations. People just stay with their parents or whatever, but you be with your mom and then you'd show up with your grandparents somewhere. So you got to see that. Tell us a little bit about the stills.
Well, there's a lot to say about the stills. I don't even know where to start. I mean, we have just a rich, legacy in Black history in general, Black history in America in general. And that was just always we were always reminded of that. William Still, who's the father of the Underground Railroad, um, Dr. James Still, who was a doctor and a medicine man in New Jersey who healed with like natural herbs.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like sometimes I call on him for
Yeah.
guidance. You never know. Like, it's just,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it all flows through me. Even like our roots in South Carolina, I know like we have some healers in our lineage.
Your
Sure.
great great grandmother, the woman
Yeah.
on the cover of the book that I wrote.
The midwife, right?
Yeah, she was a midwife. But not
Mm.
only was she a midwife, they're also healers. They made
Yes.
medicine. They
Mm-hmm.
and they bought that from the motherland.
Yeah.
So when they showed up here and they were enslaved, someone had to keep folks healthy. Someone had to deliver babies.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't have any evidence that her mother was a midwife, but I know that she was. And
Yeah.
so that she's done other things And I talked about this, it's not in the book, but I talked about this in an interview on Friday or Saturday, whatever. I did an interview for someone else. My uncle was in a barn and he fell on the pitchfork at his house. He was moving the hay around, but he fell off the ledge onto the pitchfork and it went through his leg. And his grandmother, my great grandmother, your great great grandmother, his wound with a spider web.
Oh.
And so you think spider web.
Right.
If you look it up, the spider web has penicillin in it.
Oh, okay.
She packed it with an antibiotic. How many other things like that did they use to survive? They didn't go to the doctor.
Yep.
And so when you're making these teas, I want you to think about her as well. So you have all of these healers, all of these medicine people. So what's your favorite tea
My
in your
favorite
life?
tea is probably what I'm drinking right now. It's called Pride. And I figured out, since we're promoting my teas, I figured I would have it readily available to show. But Pride is my favorite. They're all my favorite. Just
they're all your babies. And you're not supposed to have a favorite, right?
I probably drink this one the most. It has more of like a fruity flavor, and why it's also one of my favorites is it's my, I guess, like almost like an ode to my roots, to our African roots, to and even to our roots in South Carolina. Even I throw some things in there. The base is like 2 African tea leaves. One is a red African, a South African red tea called rooibos tea. And then I incorporate a black tea that is, depending on what my vendor has available, it'll either come from Tanzania or from Kenya, a black tea. And then I incorporate an African flower, which is hibiscus, and some other tropical flavors like mango and pomegranate. And then I also have peach flavors incorporated into this tea. And I say that is a part of my South Carolina roots, because I don't think people realize we probably grow more peaches than Georgia. I think that's a fact, actually. South Carolina grows more peaches than
at least that's what they told us, right? Or
I mean, I verified it on
cool.
the Googles of the world, but
and that's why it's important to tell your story, because the African proverb says, until the lion learns to write, the story of the hunter will be the victor, because the hunter is telling the story.
Right.
So when you think peach, you think Georgia. The fact is, South Carolina has that title.
Exactly.
But it doesn't have the title because someone failed to tell the story.
Exactly.
And that's why it's important to tell your story. Yes. So what other flavors do you have back there?
So I also have Soul Glow, which this is another favorite. Yes, exactly. That's exactly where I got it from. But this one is more like it's a green tea. It has some ginger, turmeric, orange peel, rose hips, and I think I said rose petals already.
So that what with COVID, people are asked to keep their immune system up. People always say turmeric and ginger.
Sure, yes. So, and this is like packed, I call this like a tea that has like a lot of antioxidants in it. So that's good. Antioxidants are good for reducing disease and sickness and even some certain cancers. Now, let me just put a disclaimer. I'm not claiming to heal anybody of anything, but you might want to just incorporate some antioxidants and other health benefits into your regimen. So Soul Glow. Also in Pride, there's echinacea, so that's a good like immunity builder. So I've incorporated that into the first tea that I've tried. Yeah. So I feel like home should always feel like wellness and things like that. So that's why I incorporated echinacea into that blend.
So Keisha's online talking about her grandma, who is your great grandmother's sister, Edel.
Okay.
And so and she made some teas. I'm not gonna say what she said she made the tea out of, but she made the tea. And
Oh, that's the comment.
and she also made coconut cake. So, those are things that they passed down too. But we're not going to talk about the tea right now, Keisha. But I need to
Yeah, I might have to. I'll message her on the side and ask her.
we're going to talk to you on the side about that tea. So, all your tea is loose leaf?
All of it is loose leaf, so you do need a steeper or tea infuser to, or even like a press, like a coffee press, if you want to make like a big serving of it. So yeah, I do prefer loose leaf tea. So that's why I wanted to do loose leaf tea.
So, what's the benefit of loose leaf? Does it taste different?
Say it necessarily tastes any different, but if you, I don't know, I just like the loose leaf. It's like it's a thing. Like people who are really, they really probably prefer loose leaf tea. Or if you're going to do bag tea, just make sure it's like in a high quality bag, not like the like the Lipton bags. Those aren't like good quality and could have all other types of materials and things incorporated into the bag. So yeah.
Do you put sugar or honey in your tea?
Well, to drink, like if none of them are sweetened. So if you want to add honey, you can, but you can drink them without.
I should have been more specific. When you put it in your cup to drink it?
Oh yeah, I'm a
honey?
Yeah, I'm like
Honey.
a honey. Yeah, I love honey. So yeah.
That must run in the family too. My dad drinks a lot of tea and he likes honey. But I just drink it. I don't put anything in it.
No, yeah. Oh, see, I can, and
ginger or orange kind of flavor, citrus flavor. I drink it without anything. Just drink it.
Well, then Soul Glow, you might like Soul Glow. Has that? Yeah, it has an orange and ginger, extra orange and orange and ginger flavor infused into the tea leaves. So yeah.
Okay. So where can people get your tea?
So you can go to my website. It is www.balmtco.com. So yeah.
So they can go online.
I also have an Instagram page. It's Balm Tico if anyone wants to check that out. And yeah, those are where you can find more information about the company.
Keisha says her mom and dad have told her many times that she almost died and doctors gave up hope. But her mother and her, the family, her mother's family gave some remedies that helped her. And so we need to go back. That doesn't get rid of Western medicine, but we need to go back to some of those remedies that can keep you from getting sick in the first place or help you.
Exactly. And I'm very big on that. Like, I'm not perfect by any means, but if I can avoid taking Western medicine and there's a more natural way to go about something, I'll choose that route first. Yeah. And if I have to tap into some Advil or something, then I'll go from there. But that's not my first route.
So your team is on it. We got Cabri put in Balm Tea Company for us, balmtco.com for us, and Muffin put in the Balm Tea for Instagram. So they have you covered. That's why you have such a big family, such a dope family. Yeah. So, are there any questions? Everybody's talking about how they love tea. Before I just hog up all the time, I wanted to know if there are any questions. But
the people in the that are
sometimes they have some questions, but it doesn't look like it. So I'm going to roll on with the questions that I have for you. So,
okay.
Would you go back to corporate America?
I think about it from time to time, but I would only go back if it was the right situation for me. Um, yeah, it would have to be the right situation.
Right.
Like we briefly talked, I think corporate America can be great for a certain type of person, but I do think it can be a little traumatic as a woman, also as a Black woman. Um, it can be a little, and I don't say that like lightly, but it is somewhat traumatic. You're dealing with a lot of like microaggressions and people saying things that you want to address, but then you got to think about like, wait, if I say it this way, then I'm
Then
gonna
I'm
become
going to perceive. I'm going to be perceived.
right. I'll be the problem, and yeah. So I think I would really have to be confident in um, the company and and that our values align. So, but yeah, I'm not against like having a 9 to 5 life. If it can help me produce or help feed other things that I'm trying to do, then and it works for me, then absolutely.
Yeah. So Talia has a question. She says, "How long does the tea last as far as freshness?"
I would recommend no more than like 12 to 18 months at most. So.
And it looks like your pouches are resealable.
Yeah, they are resealable, so that helps preserve the freshness as well. But yeah, most dried herbs, they can stay fresh, sometimes up to 24 months, but I would just recommend 18 months because I'm getting them from my vendor. And so, yeah, that's my recommendation.
So you haven't started growing them yourself yet. You get them.
Oh no, no, I do. I think sometimes like I probably should like invest in some land or something like that. But I don't know where I'm gonna do that in California. Um, but yeah, maybe South Carolina. I don't know.
Yes, let's all go back. We've earned it.
Yes.
Um, so we do have. She said, "Good. I'm not a big tea drinker unless I'm sick, but I like to have some on hand." So she's gonna. Maybe you'll become a tea drinker. I was the same way, Talia, and now I like tea, but I don't want to put sugar or honey in it. So that's what I realized my issue was, that it becomes too sweet. So I like it without.
Yeah, and I've never been a coffee drinker. Like I tell people, if you see me drinking coffee, you know I'm like dead tired. Like I'm like dead tired. So I'm not a big coffee drinker.
So I never drink coffee. So where do you want this business to take you?
Ooh, I mean, I just see it as another avenue to financial independence. Something I'm still passionate about, but I just see it as something a part of my empire. Like, um, there's other things that I want to do. I'm claiming that I'm going to sell a bunch of tea. I'm claiming that I'm going to sell a bunch of houses this year. I'm claiming all of that, and I believe that. And
And
yeah,
nothing happens in the kingdom unless something is said. So you just put it out there.
I believe, right. I believe in saying things out loud, saying affirmations and things of that nature. So I do believe that it is already happened. Actually, so that's what I'm gonna
Yes.
say. It's happened. It's
It's
already
already
done.
done. Faith in action. It is.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree.
Yes.
So I'm looking for great things. So Gail McFarland says, "I've been a tea snob for a while, and I will definitely try it."
Yes. Thank you, McFarland. So you're a family member. I don't know.
Yes,
Have
she
I?
is. Yes, she
I
is.
probably
I'll introduce you to Gail at the next reunion.
okay.
And says, "How do you operate with so many companies with the same product? What sets you apart?"
See, and I had to get out of my mind about that. So last year, well, 2019, they had a tea conference here in LA, and me and one of my friends went, and you'll notice there are people who have similar items, but you can't let that, be a fear. Like everyone has something that's similar to someone else. I think what sets me apart is I'm a young Black woman doing this. I mean, there are other Black-owned tea companies out here, but I really believe that my tea is for the soul and it's for our people. So that's what sets me apart.
Yeah. And, there's nothing new under the sun. So no matter what you sell or what service you give, someone else is doing it. But no one is doing it like you if you're
Mm-hmm.
operating authentically as yourself. And the world needs authentic people. I say that each time in every interview. The world needs authentic people. As long as you're operating authentically, then your tea is authentic as well. As a
Mm-hmm.
woman, as someone who is using her heritage to put
Mm-hmm.
together blends. It's different than someone else. The story is different. Doesn't make them any worse or better, but you have an audience, you have a clientele that resonates with the tea that you sell. So you just need to be yourself and continue to do that, especially since you're putting it out there in words, because words become reality.
Yes. And I believe, like, when you said, like, my heritage, and I sometimes, and me and my grandmother, we've talked about this when she's asked me about, like, well, how do you come up with what you want to put in your teas? And I'm like, it's really just sometimes intuition. And like, I have two blends that I want to come out with, like, by my birthday, which is in June. And it's just, I feel like it's just intuition. And I feel like these blends came together purely with intuition, and they're great. They're great. So I feel like it's just in me. So, it's
That's
just in
right.
me. Mm-hmm.
It is in you. And
Yeah.
when you follow your purpose and you walk it out with passion,
Yes.
then everything else comes together. Another quote that I love is, when you step out,
Mm.
do what makes your heart sing, the whole universe will conspire to give you everything that you want. But you have to say it, and then you have to actually follow with action to do it. And then all of these meetings will show up, the right people will show up, the things that you want to do, things that you never even imagined start happening. So when I do my lives and my coaching, I give them the 5 things to do to manifest your dreams and your vision. So the first one is to start now.
Mm.
When you decided to start this summer with your tea company, and you said you were thinking about it before,
Mm-hmm.
do you think you started later than you should have? You should have started before. When things happen, it's always a good thing, but sometimes we delay our success.
I definitely think I probably should have started before, but I also believe that the timing was now, if that makes sense. It was
Yeah,
the right time.
yeah.
So,
And now
um,
is better than never.
exactly.
And
So I,
so and again, you started the process. Now the universe is like, she's ready.
mm-hmm.
Let's
Yep.
make this happen.
And I really believe that, like, because I don't believe that any idea that comes to mind, I mean, I guess it depends on how you look at it, but anything that's placed on you to do, it's already within you to do it. Like, one of my, I guess, affirmations, like, everything I'm trying to achieve is within reach, because it's not around me, it's not on me, but it's literally in me.
Mm.
Like, yeah, so I just have to, like, act on it at the end of the day.
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So so if you have something that's in you and you know that it's in you, don't wait.
Mm-hmm.
Start now. You don't have to quit your job to do it either. Just start.
Right. I mean, yeah, you don't have to. Don't follow. Don't follow my. If you don't have to, don't quit your job.
Muffin said you're right on time. And I guess we missed something because Capri said yes, they are delicious. So I think she's talking about her teas.
Yes, Skylar loves. That's Cabri's daughter. She loves Pride. I think Cabri has
So
probably
the
gone.
baby is a tea drinker.
Oh yeah, there are all tea drinkers over there. Even KJ.
KJ?
Yes,
How old is he?
he'll be 3 in a month.
And
Yeah.
he drinks tea. Okay, KJ.
Yep. Yep.
Supporting auntie. That's nice. That's a good thing. That is awesome. So I'm trying to read and talk because
I'm like looking down at too. I'm like looking at my phone.
it's nice to have the interaction. It really is. But while we're waiting for some other things, I always ask every guest, what is your favorite quote?
Hmm. I don't know that I have a favorite quote, but I am big on like affirmations, and one of them is like what I just said. Like it's not around me or in me. I mean, it's not around me or on me. It's in me. Um, I'm not consistent with saying my affirmations, but I say I'm a healer every day. I say I'm protected. So those are things I like to say and affirm to myself. So I don't know that I have a specific quote, but
But yeah, I feel.
I do have something. I heard someone else say like it's an affirmation though. It's I am a conduit for currency and money. So I like to speak that over my life. So
Yes.
like,
Yes.
and I like that I'm a conduit because it's not just staying with me, it's going to go out into the universe. And so I believe that.
I call it blessed to be a blessing.
Exactly.
There, there was a lady, she's deceased now, but she used to always say, I'm a blessing going somewhere to happen.
Hmm.
So, like, I'm big on that. I'm big on just stepping out and blessing other people. Like that's why I don't just do a podcast and talk about me. I do want to highlight these phenomenal women and inspire other people to step out of their comfort zone and do what they were created to do. But just I'm always mindful of being a blessing, going somewhere to happen because of
Yeah.
Cynthia. She used to say that all the time. So when I'm in a restaurant, I do overtip because I'm a blessing, going somewhere to happen. If I can do something for somebody, I'm going to do it because I'm a blessing going somewhere to happen. And as long as you're blessing other people, you can't help but be blessed. So I like
Exactly.
the conduit piece.
A secular thing, like it's gonna come back to you, and that's why you shouldn't, it doesn't hurt to be a giver. It doesn't at all. So yeah, actually I started I have a little bit of ADD, I think, because I'll start a book and then I can't finish it. But I actually did start reading Cicely Tyson's memoir, Just As I Am.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even into, her chapters yet, but in the foreword, Viola Davis wrote something about how Cicely Tyson really just wanted to live a life, or lived a life bigger than herself.
Yeah.
And I think that should be everyone's goal.
Yeah.
Like,
And I think because I downloaded the book, I haven't listened to it because I don't really have time to read anything. I have the books that I'm reading, and I'm usually listening while I'm cleaning or doing something else. So I do have the book, but I've been shipping out lessons and legacy books and doing all that kind of thing. You got yours?
I said, I can't wait to get mine.
Oh, you should have gotten it today or yesterday.
Um, I gotta check my
It's a
mail.
little slow. Oh, okay. The mail's a little slow too, but
I'm a,
it's one of the books that I'm reading. I'm also reading Big Magic by
okay.
Elizabeth Gilbert, and I
Okay.
shout out Elizabeth. I was going to call her Washington, but she is Elizabeth Butler now, and she said join this book club, and we're going to read this book. The book is amazing, and it's all about intention, going within as you spoke. It's awesome. So when I finish that, then I'm gonna go to the Cicely Tyson book.
Okay.
But yeah, it is. I think it's amazing, and I don't read more than one book sometimes, unless it's for a book club. Then I stick with the one book so that I can actually actively participate.
Yeah.
Because then
I'm
it all starts running together, and I'm like, who is this character or that character? But I love to read, so I'm going to do the Cicely Tyson book, and maybe we can have a conversation about that too. So
That would be cool.
it's just amazing to see family doing things that the generations have done. And not
Mm,
everybody does the same thing. Like you talked about that tea and your grandmother. And here, lo and behold, you're already thinking about being a healer. So there's your great great grandmother. And
mm-hmm.
we do some things. And that's why people should actually learn the story of their families and make sure they share it. Because, when you're working on your authentic self, you also need to figure out, where did I get this trait from? Where
Right.
does this come from? Why do I like to do this? Why does this bother me? And then you need to figure out where the not so good traits come from and how you can fix those. Because whatever you don't conquer will conquer you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know you have an issue in a certain area, it's good to know where it came from and how you can fix it. So I'm just so glad to see that you're following your intuition
Yes.
together. Teas, just blending them with your creativity and speaking that it comes from within, because you know it does. And
Mm-hmm.
you are a healer, and that you are a conduit. So money not only just goes to other people, but you get it, and then you can bless other people with it. Um, I always ask another question of all of my guests, and it is, because I am a griot, because family history is so important to me, I ask everybody who comes on this platform, who's on whose shoulders do you stand?
Um, well, for sure, my grandparents, Gilbert and Creola still, and all of their lineage, like I definitely stand on them. Like they have taught me so much. Not necessarily with what they have verbally said to me and my sister and my cousin and my mom and her sisters, but just in how they lived their life. So my grandmother is probably she probably does too much. She's a giver. Like she doesn't know when to uh, slow down.
Yeah.
And she just operates from a place of I'm going to do for someone else, and I think because she knows she's been blessed. And the same with my grandfather when he was still here. He might go off on you, but he was still going to do for you at the end of the day. So I just come from a big family, even on my dad's side, just a family full of givers and just
Mhm.
want you to do your best. So I'm working on doing
Givers,
my
givers come from a place of abundance.
best. Hmm.
When you see the people who, it's always they have to hold on to it, they got to get their stuff first. It it's a mindset of lack.
Hmm.
Come from a place of lack. And
Yep.
if you never help anybody else, if it's always about you, then you may not be in the place that you need to be when you need help.
Yep.
However, usually when you're a giver, it's very little will you need the kind of help that the person who comes from lack.
Hmm.
So tell everybody how they can get your tea again.
All right, so check out my website, bombteaco.com. Currently, there's 3 blends. All are in stock right now. So if y'all want to take them out of stock, go for it.
Sell her out. Sell her.
And I'm not praying, I will have at least two additional blends by my birthday. That is my birthday gift to myself. So I have a few more months. June is not that far away, but it's far enough away for me to really do these next 2 blends right. So look out for those. And yeah, bombteaco.com.
So get your tea. As Shelly Davenport said, yes, you ladies are beautiful. I love you. We love you too, Shelly.
Love you, cousin Shelly.
And so Capri said, take them all out of stock. And we're gonna try.
That's right. This,
We're
that's
gonna
right.
try. That's what we do. Um, Keisha said, put it on your page too. So it is on the announcement, and we'll definitely put it. They put it in the chat, so they can put it in the chat again so that you can get it.
Yeah. And
And
one thing
Natalia
I have,
says, thank you for the great interview.
oh, thank you guys for joining us for sure. That's
Yeah,
one thing I have to work on. Self-promotion. I suck at that. I really do.
that's one of our issues. That is one of our issues, and it comes from the family thing where you promote someone else and not
Mhm.
yourself, and we need
Yeah.
to learn to do that as well. So that's one of the things that it's good in a certain way. Humility is good in a certain way, but if you
Right.
have a business, then there's something else that you have to do. When you think about your grandfather and his signs, everybody knew he had a business,
Exactly.
where to go. When you think about my great grandmother, your great great grandmother, she had a cane mill. Not only was she a midwife, but she owned a farm. And she
I
was
didn't know.
a widow. She was a widow, had 14 children, and she owned a farm. And then her house was in town, but she also had a cow and a few things in a smokehouse at her yard as well. But she raised sugarcane,
I did not know that.
and then she had a mill for sugarcane. So I guess she did her cane, but she did other people's cane. So when
But
we're
we were
watching
eating
Queen
sugar.
Sugar,
Hey, okay.
when you're watching Queen Sugar, that was Carrie McFarland.
Oh
And
my God.
I don't know if her mill, I don't know how big the mill is. These are all the things that we need to dig deeper into. So, the book that I wrote is really about just a little bit about our lineage, goes to generation 5. So that, because our family is so big, I couldn't go
Oh,
from 5
what generation
because
am I?
you are generation 8.
Okay, okay.
You are 8. You should know that. I did that at the reunion. So you're generation 8, but it goes to 5, and that allows everybody to get their lineage from there and do the work. And then I just talk about the organization, the
Okay.
meetings, the eatings, the recording of information, and handling of money. And when you get your book, when you look through it, they raise quite a bit of money for
Okay.
time. So they were always about their money. And then the third portion is for one, us, to have a blueprint to follow to keep up what they put together for us. And it's also for anybody who wants to make sure that their family is in touch with one another to build great family reunions, as well as manage the money so that people don't mind giving their money. Because when we
Mhm.
have a reunion and it costs much, nobody calls up and goes, well, who's handling the money? And I want to know where it goes, because they know that we're an organization. So there's
Mhm.
accountability and there's transparency. So that's what it's about. So when you're ready to host a reunion in California, you already have the blueprint in the book.
Ooh,
And
that sounds
so,
like a big task.
yes, don't do it alone. But I show you
Okay.
how in the book. So just go ahead and read it since you bought it already.
Okay.
And then you can serve us tea. We should have a tea.
Absolutely. Could probably even do something now, like a virtual tea or something like that.
Yes. Let's plan that right now. Katia is gonna have a virtual tea.
Okay.
Order your blends right now, and then watch her site, and she'll tell you when it is. Or maybe
Yes.
maybe we can order all 3, and then we can do a tea tasting.
Thing. Yes, yes, yes. So I would say maybe by early April, it should be a little good. That'll be a good time for me, I think.
Okay.
Early. So that gives you all some time
So
to.
will you announce it on your your tea page, uh,
I probably will.
everywhere?
I probably will try and announce it everywhere. I suck at Facebook. So I need to get better at promoting stuff on Facebook as well. Um, but more than likely, it'll be on my Instagram page.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just let me know where to get it. And
Okay.
people who are watching your website,
Mm-hmm.
www.bombtco.com.
Yes.
BALM, like the
Yes.
salve, the healing salve. They can go on there, and when you're ready to have that tea party, we can do it. Let's make it happen.
Okay.
Alrighty. So Cabri says she's there. And Talia says, sounds good. And wear a big hat. She wants to wear the tea party hat. So a fascinator.
I was probably do a fascinator. Yeah.
You can wear your big hat, your fascinator. Yeah, I think I just have a fascinator, but I can make some. Gail,
Mhm.
she's there, so you already have your tea party. Let's get it rocking.
All right. Now we put it out there, so it has to happen.
Yeah, and we want it to happen, and it'll be awesome.
Okay, well, let me get on that.
It'll be awesome. So she's gonna be planning it, and you guys can watch. I'll also advertise on my page because that's what I do. We are a blessing going somewhere to happen. I do want to remind you guys that tomorrow is the master class that I'm doing for research. If you don't know about your family history or you need a little more clarity on some tidbits of your family, if you're looking to build out your family tree, or you want to do a DNA test but you're not sure which one, or you're not sure how to do it or which one is best for you, then we're doing a master class tomorrow at 7 p.m. The first hour is teaching. The last half hour is questions and answers. You won't be disappointed. We did it in December, and people took away. They had great takeaways for their family reunions and for their family and their history and their lineage, so that you can sit and say that I'm a healer. I know about William Still. And so when Katia goes to do her history, she can just Google William Still. You may not be able to do that, but there's a story that needs to be told about your family. So if you have a branch of your family and you don't know the history, or you're trying to make ties on the stories that you had, then I'll show you how to get the truths out of those stories. Because some of the stories that you hear aren't true, and you can verify that with documentation and or DNA. So I show you how to do all of that, how to tease out things. You got cousins and you're not really sure how you're related. You can find all of that out with research and just going in and using online information or DNA or both. And so I want to thank Katia for
Thank
joining us.
you.
And now we have tasked her with having a tea party for us with big hats or fascinators. And we're going to be ready to do that. And I encourage you to go to her website, www.bombtco.com, and let her sell out. Just bless her. She's a conduit, so she's going to bless somebody else. So
All right.
let's
Go
go.
back and first.
Let's just go on and just make her just look brick her website. Just make sure that you sell out everything. Just purchase and see what happens when you'll be ready for the tea party because you'll already have your stuff. So is there anything that you'd like to say to everyone besides we're gonna have this tea party online?
No,
Information is coming.
no, I thank you all for listening to my story, and I thank you, cousin Kendra, for having me on your platform.
Glad you could come.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm so glad you could come. Alrighty. So you sure? There's nothing else before we sign off?
No, I mean, I guess I can plug my other thing too. Like if I work off of referrals too with real estate. I know I'm in California, but people know people who know people. So don't be afraid to spread the word about your friend or your cousin or whoever that lives in California, me, who's a licensed realtor. So would love to help. So
Yep. So let's support one another. Entrepreneurship is an awesome thing. Um, we're a mighty people, and we really should support one another. And they do. I'm not sure if there are new people here who weren't here at the beginning. You are skilled in real estate. You
Yes.
you worked in corporate for commercial real estate for 7 years. And not just an agent, you're a broker. So you're not just getting somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. So while she loves tea, and that's part of her multiple streams of income, the real estate will not be subpar. The real estate is on point, and so invite your friends, tell your family if they're moving to California and they're looking for a home, see Katia for that as well. All
Well,
right,
thank
everybody.
thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Have a great night.
Thank you for listening to Dream Aloud with Kendra. If you like the show, leave a review and tell a friend. I also invite you to join our Dream Aloud Facebook group, where we encourage and challenge our members to step outside of their comfort zone and live limitless lives. I guarantee you will experience true fulfillment when you live, work, and play your way.